English Shorthand Junior, February 2009, Model Test 3rd, Start. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity that has been given to me to speak on this occasion. It has been agreed by all that self-sufficiency in food is the most important thing so far as we are concerned. This has been felt by the government as well as the people of this country. I think you will agree that it has been given due importance in our plan. I am glad that the necessary schemes in this regard have been drawn up. But the question that we have to consider is whether they will be implemented. I hope and trust that with the cooperation of all concerned, the government will be able to implement them. In this connection, I would like to point out that in the past there was failure, not in the matter of having schemes, but in the matter of implementation. I don't want to go into the details of the plans. It has been said by an honorable member that a government which cannot give food to the people should not be there. I agree with him to some extent, but at the same time, I would like to ask whether since independence there has been no increase in food production in this country. As a matter of fact, we have been able to increase food production very much. There is no doubt that this is an achievement of which the government may be proud. We are aware that in the last 2 or 3 years there was a drought. We know that the government have no control over it. As a result of the drought, there was some difficulty. In these circumstances, it is not fair to create more difficulties. This is a matter which the House and the country will have to consider, taking into consideration all the difficulties which were there during the last year. I would like to say that the Honorable Minister has been taking necessary steps to deal with the situation. As we know, the Honorable Minister has announced the policy about wheat. I do not want to criticize it or go into its merits, but I want to make it clear that I am one of those who believe that controls should be the least. There should be controls which are not essential. From this point of view, we have to consider this question. Letter from Salam and Company, Mumbai, to Messrs. John and Company, Hyderabad. Dear Sirs, we are in receipt of your letter of the 10th instant, and we thank you for your order for supply of 50 table fans. We agree to make an allowance of 3% on the catalog prices as desired by you, and we have booked this order in accordance with your instructions. But at the same time, we regret to inform you that it will not be possible for us to supply the fans to you before this first week of May, as we have no stock of these fans at present, and as our factory will be fully engaged with another urgent order for about a month. So, if you are in a position to wait till the first week of May, you may kindly let us know by return of post, and we shall be glad to execute your present order. Yours faithfully. English Shortened Junior, August 2008. Start. Mr. Chairman, sir, I would like to make a few observations on the budget that has been presented to the House by the Honorable the Minister for Finance. Even though the ruling party has given a pledge that it would not resort to any fresh taxation, we are surprised to find that they have now taxed many consumer goods, with the result that the cost of living will go up. In the result, the lower middle classes and the upper middle classes will be hard hit. Of course, there is a deficit of rupees 6 crores, but it would have been left uncovered without resorting to any additional taxation. In the neighboring state, we find that they have not resorted to additional taxation, even though the deficit is to the extent of nearly rupees 20 crores. This is so in many other states also, and that is really commendable. If there is a deficit in the budget, we may ask the central government to give us some aid, and they will also come forward to help us. Whatever be the justification, any additional taxation will put the poor people to suffering. This could have been avoided by the government easily. With regard to land ceiling, a few years back, the government gave wide publicity and gave plenty of opportunities to the landowners to dispose of their excess lands. The ceiling then prescribed was 30 standard acres. Now the government have brought down the ceiling to 15 standard acres. My own submission is that if the government all on a sudden bring down the ceiling, the middle class people will be put to suffering. I don't see any reason why the government want to harass certain categories of people. As a matter of fact, the reductions of ceiling will result in decrease in food production. There can be very little or no procurement of food grains. Ultimately, the government will have to face the problem of food deficit. The cost of cultivation has gone up. The motors which are used for bump sets by the villagers are taxed heavily. We are giving concessions to industrialists. I would like to appeal to the Honorable Minister to extend such concessions to the agriculturists also. This will give them incentives to step up food production. I am quite sure that the government will look into the problem of crop and cattle insurance also. Letter dated 3rd January 2008 from Sundaram Stores, Chennai to Thiru Gopalan 6, Gandhi Road, Chennai. Dear Sir, we are glad to hear from our marketing assistant that you are interested in purchasing a wet grinder. We thank you for the keen interest that you have taken in our wet grinder. We are aware of the great care that is taken by people in purchasing the right grinder. It will be used day after day for many years. Therefore, we are sure that it can be brought only after serious consideration. In view of this, we usually give a free demonstration at the resistance of the customers on request. If you indicate your convenience, our staff will call on you and give a free demonstration. In this way, you can satisfy yourself about the quality of the machine. At the same time, it will also give us an opportunity to show why you should choose our bed grinder. Yours faithfully. August 2007. Start. Ladies and gentlemen, let me at the outset extend my heartiest congratulations to the recipients of the President's Police Medal for distinguished service. I commend you for your dedication and the devotion to the cause of national security and effective policing. I would also like to offer my heartfelt condolences to the families of your brave colleagues who sacrificed their lives in the service of the nation. I give you my assurance that our government will spare no effort to ensure that their needs are met and their future is secured. As I addresses you all here today, my mind goes back to some of the very important issues I had raised on the same occasion last year. I had spoken of the challenges facing the police forces today, of equipping the police forces with the necessary material and intellectual resources to meet these challenges, and of the need to generate professionalism, honesty, integrity, and efficiency in the police. I had also spoken of the need to improve the public image of the police, whereby a policeman can be seen as a friend of the people. We have to address the material needs of the policeman, particularly of those at the lower level, and the police system has to be reformed so as to make it a more effective and human organization. Periodic conferences of this kind are a good occasion to reflect on the progress made in achieving these goals. I had also asked the Home Ministry to quickly examine the recommendations of earlier committees on police reforms and suggest easily implementable measures. I am happy to note that some progress has been made. Police forces across the world continue to face an increasingly complex environment. New security threats have come up now, bringing before us new challenges. Governments across the world are trying to fight them and want to formulate a suitable response. In a large and diverse country to vast area which is undergoing social, economic and political change, your job is even more challenging. The important challenges facing the police force today are the threat of terrorism and of organized crime. There are other challenges of equal importance to our people, namely the attacks on weaker sections and women. Our police force must be equipped to the task in dealing with such people. We need force and intelligence in dealing with each one of these challenges. Letter from Raman and Company, New Street, Chennai, to Messrs. Raja and Sons, North Street, Madurai. Dear Sirs, we thank you for your kind enquiry of the 10th instant. We are glad that you are interested in purchasing stationery from us. So, we have taken special interest in furnishing you all the particulars that you require in this regard. We are enclosing a list of items we usually supply to our customers. We will be able to sell the items at the price requested by you for the present, though the prices may increase after a period of 6 months. We can sell the articles on credit basis. If you are interested, you may kindly go through the list and let us know your requirements so that we may supply them at an early date. We also expect prompt payment from you, subject to the terms of credit. We assure you of our best attention at all times Yours faithfully. February 2006. Start. Mr. Speaker Sir, I thank the honorable members for making some good suggestions in the course of their speeches. I shall now deal with some of the points that have been raised. First, so far as water supply is concerned, I am glad that the honorable members have appreciated the steps taken by the government in this direction. In this connection, I would like to point out that it is not merely a question of putting up a well in a particular place, but it is also a question of providing protected water supply. It should be understood that when we supply water in this manner, the problem of drainage is also involved. We hope that with the speed at which we are proceeding in this matter, it will be possible to solve the problem in the near future. The most important problem that we are now facing is the formulation of the next plan. I have dealt with it in some detail in my budget speech. In spite of the difficulties we had to face in regard to the previous plan, it should be possible for us to have a better plan now, which will enable the nation as a whole to make good progress. If we want to have a welfare state, it is necessary to improve the productive capacity of the agricultural sector. Unless we do that, we will be only sharing poverty with each other. When we take the problem as a whole, it seems to me that unless we increase production, it will not be possible to have prosperity as far as the rural population is concerned. At the same time, the farmers do not have credit facilities. I may also point out that they are not able to get a proper price for their produce. We are aware that there was no difficulty in the past as long as what was produced was utilized in the villages themselves. But as a matter of fact, the villagers are now using articles made by machines also. They are sold at a high price. So, it is necessary for us to see that they are able to get these articles at a low price. If we have to deal with this problem, we must think of small scale industries in the villages. All these things must be taken into consideration when we think of the next plan. Letter from Anandan and Company, Erode, to Messrs. Satyam and Company, Tirupur. Dear Sirs, we thank you for your letter of enquiry. You have asked us to let you know whether we can supply some iron and steel materials. We are glad to state that we will be able to supply them. In this connection, we may tell you that we have been dealing in these goods for a long time. We have a large number of customers and there has been no complaint from them. It has been found that these materials are strong and durable. We will give you a trade discount of 8% as you are a new customer. We shall give you a special discount of 2% more. We will take care to see that the goods supplied are of good quality. We assure you of our best services at all times. We await your orders at an early date. Yours faithfully. August 2005. Start. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity given to me to speak on the demand for school education among all the chief ministers in the country. Our Honorable Chief Minister is the only one who promised to make Tamil Nadu the number one state in the country. Ever since this declaration, all her actions and steps towards achieving this target have been in this direction. A state cannot become a number one state all of a sudden. Every department has to progress and achieve equally. Among these, there are vital and important areas. One such area is education, and here Kerala is said to have obtained almost 100% literacy. Tamil Nadu has achieved a literacy level of 73%, and I am sure with the sincerity shown by our Chief Minister to provide education to the poor and weaker sections of society, our state will achieve full literacy. For this purpose, the government have already introduced education for all scheme. Sir, all here are aware that I am a nominated member in this house to represent the interest of our community and to work for their welfare. This community has contributed a great deal in many areas for the development of the country, and more particularly in the field of school education. As far as our community is concerned, there are about 41 Anglo Indian schools functioning in the state. This is a healthy number, and I do not seek any increase in this number. However, the buildings of some existing schools are too old and for want of funds. They are in bad condition. I am aware of the financial constraints the government are facing. So, as a one time assistance, I request that some funds may be allotted for these buildings. I am fully aware that I am speaking on the demand for school education, and it is certainly not my wish to deviate from the subject. However, as I am the only member in the House representing our community, I request your permission to put forward a couple of points in their interest. While there is a reservation for them in medical course, and I request that there may be a reservation here also. I am especially grateful to our Honorable Speaker for having permitted me to speak on this very important demand. Letter dated the 7th November 2003 from Sivam Publishers, Broadway, Chennai, to Messrs. Narayanan and Company, Tank Street, Belur. Dear Sirs, as per your order of the 6th of last month, we dispatched 1000 copies of Tamil English dictionary by a special lorry, and the receipt of the same has been acknowledged by you. After the receipt of the books, we have not so far received any payment from you. This make us feel sorry. We have sent the goods in the belief that the payment will be made immediately on receipt of the books. However, we have not yet received any amount from you. Generally, we accept the orders from the parties who sent the amount in advance. But as a special case, we have considered your request, taking into account our past relationship. So, we request you kindly to send the amount by check as early as possible. We accept your early action. Yours faithfully.